Hi, I'm always on the hunt for new pricing and monetization ideas. Something I read by Stephen Forth at the weekend kind of gave me a couple of ideas and showed a bit of direction where many SaaS companies, AI companies, are going to have to go, whether they like it or not. And so Stephen, for those who don't know, is I think the CEO of Ibica, like a pricing and consultancy, but he's a very sharp guy. And he, along with many others, have been tracking the kind of direction of travel of many SaaS companies into the AI world. And so something he wrote at the weekend, I can't quite remember the name, but I'll probably put it in the links. And it was something about the change in the face or changing face of pricing and packaging in SaaS companies. And he highlighted two companies in particular, Adobe and Gong. The theme of the article was almost like AI is default. AI is being given to you whether you like it or not. And we'll probably do another section on Adobe in the way they're kind of forcing AI down your gullet in a different way, in a kind of foie gras type AI. But today I want to focus on Gong. And I suppose to go back to the theme, AI is default. And so what he highlights is that many companies are thinking we don't always want to sell AI on its own. Same package we will offer on its own, but we actually want to include it in every single tier, whether it be the first tier, second tier, or the enterprise tier, etc. And Go have done that, or Gong have done that in a certain way to basically say we want to basically have you use AI, and we're going to use a more jobs-led approach. And anybody who knows me knows I'm a massive fan of jobs-led pricing. I believe that big tech, whether it be Meta and Google, have been doing it for many, many years in a way that each of the advertising campaigns is really a separate job for a separate individual with a separate goal. But it hasn't really moved beyond, say, those big tech ad companies. But I think now AI agents is going to force it down to every single firm. So Gong have got 14 agents, and I can't remember half the name of them. But I do love the idea of many more agents. So there's some debate whether they have too many or too little. I definitely think it's too little. But it's a brilliant, brilliant start, and it shows the direction of travel of jobs-led pricing. So why does this work, and why does it make sense? So if we look at traditional SaaS, and this is best done with, we have, say, the starter, maybe let's call it basic. Then we have, let's just do that and make it easier. Let's be basic, and then this would be something like premium in terms of tiers. It looks slightly sexier. This may be freemium or just basic, a low price. This would be premium, which might be 3, 4, 5x more than the initial cost. And then you have something really sexy, which is enterprise, which is where you want to think make a lot more money, which would be higher. Just try and make this much, much bigger. Trying to think of add pretty much everything on top. And this is your enterprise. Let's add some more on top. So the idea is obviously someone can visibly see that there's a big difference between what you have in the premium and what you have in the enterprise. And this can manifest in a number of different ways. But the idea is to make this part look, so that can never work. Can I even get it stuck on? Much sexier than the pile before. Clearly that's not going to work, so let's do another one. So how do you do that? So what you've seen over the last few years is that this pile here started off like this and just kept on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Will this work this time? Probably not. It does work. And bigger. And you'd find more and more stuff added on top of here, almost to the point where it became pretty much with Frankenstein. So you can see that the size is there. So you've got the basic, you've got the premium, and you've got this Frankenstein of a product, which basically, if you think about the whole concept of continually developing, you would add more and more features in there. Now, this part here is actually really hard for someone to understand how to fully utilize the product. Most SaaS products, let's be fair, are pretty good, but they're also pretty hard to use. And so you could argue that the skill set required to actually be successful in a firm is one, having domain knowledge, understanding what you're doing technically or whatever the actual job is. But two, also having domain knowledge of this actual system. Because if you're the best salesman or woman and you have no clue how to use Salesforce and you don't have a massive support team, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle from a financial perspective, from an FP&A, from results, from getting paid, from just keeping a track of what you're doing. And so on top of being a salesperson, you also need to have either support staff or a pretty good knowledge of the actual system, Salesforce, etc., or HubSpot. And so what agents, you could argue, try to do is to say, how do we deconstruct, it's going to go pear-shaped, I'm sure, how do we deconstruct this Frankenstein of a massive, massive feature dump product into separate jobs to be done, you could argue. I know people hate the term jobs to be done. I love it personally, but whether you love it or hate it, there are certain jobs that Salesforce does and certain jobs that obviously Gong does that they could be split out. So let's take Gong. One of the jobs could just be simply provide a tracker. That could be an agent. And so underlying database, the agent is able or enables people to query exactly where you are in deals and obviously use all the the revenue intelligence that they have within their platform. There you go, it came up properly. So that's one way. Another way could be to surface information on clients they think are going to drop. That would be another agent. That's fine. Another agent could be give me really good financial reporting on exactly where we are for our finance team, etc. Another agent, some of these I'm just making up, could be, okay, give me all the best conversations that we've had that are converted between salespeople that I can repurpose that for my L&D, for my training, for my HR, etc. Another one could be, probably the last one I do, could be something like, please tell me all the outlier trades which will allow me to think I should just drop them. Something similarly, something you can probably get from Salesforce, but obviously with conversational revenue intelligence platforms like Gong, maybe slightly easier. So these examples probably aren't the best, but you can think of all the hundreds of examples of things that you actually use agents for. And I'll also link to the Gong article in this at the bottom of the page to make sure that you're getting people to use the product properly. Okay, I can do that then.